And there was a strange attraction to the grotesque archaeology that was left. These were abandoned prisons that I was looking at. But the way I would photograph them, there was sort of a transformation. As far back as I can remember, I was always drawing, and I never thought about it seriously, although my mother tells me that when I was about 7 or 8, I told her I was going to be an artist or else a dancer. And so I guess I had an idea that I would pursue this. When I started with photography 20 years ago, I was doing black and white, but I didn't take photography that seriously until I started adding color and drawing onto my photographs. Then it became more of a medium that I felt was truer to me. Just having a straight image, one singular image, which noticeably I haven't done, isn't that comfortable. I think it's in my own repertoire and the way I create that it would have to be a multiple. And it would also have to have other dimensions beyond just one image. I decided to shoot and pivot on my tripod and shoot 360 degrees. Then I angle upward, shoot another 360, and keep going, and then I angle downward. The images get more and more abstract as the rows go upward and downward. The horizon line, the main line, is the most accurate, and that's what keeps the image together. When I go to a site, and if it's a commission or if it's a site I've never been in before and had to get permission to get into, I don't know what to expect. And it's the moment. I know I have like maybe half an hour to an hour to figure out where I'm going to shoot. So I walk around, figure out. It's sort of weird to watch me because I twirl around because that's the way I shoot, and I have to get this idea of what that image will look like in a sequence. So in a sequence that's 360 degrees. So I do that periodically at different spaces, and I even cover my eyes so that it has a more panoramic kind of feel. I can sort of visualize. There's certain elements I look for in terms of finding the right spot. It's not that easy to schedule to shoot. When I was shooting Public Square, I went back 4 times. The clouds had to be perfect. The fountain had to be perfect. Everything had to be perfect, so I would just wait until the right time. It's very consuming. I mean, it takes an incredible amount of energy because we're talking at least 3 rolls of film, maybe 4 or 5, and it's unconsciously I'm counting each. I cannot shoot 2 images a day, although it only takes me an hour to shoot. Somehow I think my mind has unconsciously counted all those images, so the second image I'm too exhausted to do. It just doesn't come out. I used to put them all together myself. It would take me anywhere from 6 to 8 hours. Then I discovered that the load was quite a bit. I started training people to put these together. There's a lot of different parts to putting these pieces together, and I do get help. I couldn't possibly do all of them and produce as much work as I do by myself. When I started shooting panoramic photo collages in 1985, I was very much attracted to the flats, the abandoned industrial sites, the end of that era. And what automatically followed for me was, especially after reading an article about a Superfund site close by in Illyria, was this curiosity about how to make impact with that subject matter. Some of these sites look so everyday and bucolic and pristine and pretty, and the irony is that you can't see the pollution, that there's another layer in the photograph that we don't actually see. We see the surface, but there's something beyond the surface that's affecting everybody. The workhouse in Cincinnati was the first prison I did, and I was actually commissioned to do some work there by Scripps Howard, and I had a lot of leeway in terms of what I could photograph for them, and then they made a selection from that, and they did select the workhouse, which was the first abandoned prison that I actually got to see and photograph. from there, I realized I wanted to do a series of prisons, and at that point, 5 or 6 years ago, I didn't realize why. I realized I wanted to see a lot of the other prisons, and there was a strange attraction to the grotesque archaeology that was left. These were abandoned prisons that I was looking at. But the way I would photograph them, there was sort of a transformation. I was born in Gila River relocation camp. This was at the end of World War II. The camps, as we refer to them, may sound benign, but during World War II, after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, there were many Japanese Americans who were citizens in the United States who were imprisoned in war relocation camps. The government decided that the Japanese living on the Western Front, Washington, California, Oregon, needed to be interned. This was 120,000 Japanese Americans who were interned in 10 U.S. concentration camps during the war. It's not easy to find the camps. I had to talk to a lot of people. They would drive 3 or 4 hours to meet me and actually go through the camps with me and tell me a little bit about the history. Very few people actually know the real story, or even that much of the story. It's through video and television that people actually have heard about the camps. When I started this series, my audience was the Japanese American community. And there's just a handful here in Cleveland, but there is a larger community, and internationally people are interested in what I'm doing. I was just really amazed that that all of a sudden with this series that it's in demand. I mean, they want it in London, they want it in Japan, and so it's really important not to close off yourself in terms of audience, not to just see the audience as Cleveland. I think by working on the relocation camp series that I was able to satisfy some need, some frustration about dealing with that issue that was so personal to my family.